Good day, everyone. My name is Maureen Joy C. Mortejo, a Doctor of Education student from Caraga State University. And today, I will be discussing decision making in educational policy, strategic resource allocation, and prioritization for equitable and effective school management. Rather than presenting this topic through definitions alone, I invite you to imagine yourself in the role of a school principal. Throughout this presentation, we will step into what I call the principal's decision room. As educational leaders, our role extends far beyond managing budgets or implementing policies. Every decision we make directly influences teachers, learners, parents, and ultimately the quality of education. Therefore, the question is not simply what decision should we make, but how can we make the most responsible and evidence-based decision for the benefit of all learners. That is the central focus of today's discussion. By the end of this presentation, we should be able to explain decision making in educational policy, describe resource allocation, understand prioritization, analyze different decision making models, and finally apply these concepts in educational leadership. These objectives will guide us from understanding the theoretical foundations of decision making to applying them in real life school management situations. Now, let us begin a realistic situation. Imagine that you have just been appointed as the principal of a public elementary school. At the beginning of the school year, you discover that your budget is limited. However, your school urgently needs classroom repairs. Teachers are requesting professional development and training. The computer laboratory needs upgrading. Utility expenses continue to increase, and essential school supplies must also be purchased. Unfortunately, the available budget cannot accommodate all these things at once. So the question becomes, which should the principal prioritize and why? At first glance, there seems to be no wrong answer because every need is important. Yet, this is precisely the challenge faced by educational leaders every year. Decision making is not about choosing between good and bad options. Rather, it is about selecting the most appropriate option among several equally important needs under conditions of limited resources. Many people believe that decision making simply means choosing the right option instead of the wrong one. However, educational leadership presents a different reality. Most school leaders are not deciding between a correct and an incorrect choice. Instead, they are choosing among several worthwhile alternatives that all compete for limited resources. For example, should a principal invest in a classroom repairs or teacher training? Should funds be directed toward improving technology or purchasing additional learning materials? Each option has merit. Therefore, the real challenge lies in determining which decision will produce the greatest educational impact. This highlights the importance of strategic prioritization, especially when resources are scarce. To understand this process, let us first define two important concepts. Decision making is the systematic process of identifying problems, evaluating available alternatives, and selecting the best course of action to achieve organizational goals. Educational policy, on the other hand, consists of laws, regulations, and institutional guidelines that govern how educational systems operate. These policies influence curriculum implementation, funding, teacher development, governance, and learning outcomes. When these two concepts work together, educational leaders are able to make informed decisions that ultimately improve student learning and school performance. In other words, sound educational policies provide direction, while effective decision making transforms these policies into meaningful actions. So these slides illustrate what I refer to as the policy compass. Every decision made within a school begins with national educational policies. These policies are translated into division priorities and eventually reflected in the School Improvement Plan or SIP. The SIP then guides budget decisions which ultimately influence learner outcomes. This reminds us that educational leaders do not make decisions based on personal preference. Instead, they ensure that every decision aligns with established policies and contributes to achieving educational goals. In this sense, policy serves as a compass that guides every peso spent and every program implemented within the school. Suppose our school receives a MOOE allocation of 500,000 pesos. One possible allocation could be 40% for classroom repairs, 20% for teacher training, 15% for infrastructure, another 15% for reading programs, and the remaining 10% is an emergency fund. Would everyone agree with this distribution? Probably not. Different stakeholders have different priorities. Teachers may emphasize professional development, parents may request additional learning resources, and students may benefit more from improved facilities. And we cannot forget about the school utilities. We have the electricity, the internet, the water bill. So there are a lot to consider. Therefore, resource allocation is never purely a financial exercise. It is a leadership responsibility that requires balancing multiple needs while maximizing educational outcomes. To support these decisions, educational leaders rely on different decision-making models. We have the rational model, follows a logical and systematic process by comparing alternatives through careful analysis. We also have evidence-based model, relies on school data, assessment results, and research evidence to guide decisions. The participatory model recognizes the value of involving teachers, parents, and stakeholders in the decision-making process. Lastly, the incremental model focuses on gradual improvements rather than large-scale changes, making it practical when resources are limited. So, an effective school leader understands that no single model fits every situation. Instead, different circumstances require different approaches. Several theories help explain why educational leaders make decisions the way they do. Herbert Simon's bounded rationality theory reminds us that leaders rarely have complete information. They must make the best possible decision using the information available. Systems theory emphasizes that schools are interconnected systems. A decision affecting one area often produces consequences in another. Equity theory teaches that fairness does not necessarily mean giving everyone the same resources. Instead, resources should be distributed according to actual needs. Finally, human capital theory argues that investing in teachers and learners produces long-term educational improvement. Together, these theories remind us that educational leadership is both scientific and deeply human. Now, let us return to our original scenario. This time we have data. Reading proficiency is only 58%. The classrooms remain functional despite high utilization. Teachers demonstrate moderate ICT competence. Parents consistently request strong reading intervention. What does the evidence tell us? Based on the available information, the greatest learning gap lies in literacy. Therefore, the most strategic decision is to allocate primary funding toward reading intervention. Why? Because literacy serves as the foundation of all learning. Improving reading skills has a positive impact on every other academic subject. This decision also reflects equity theory. Since resources are directed toward learners, with the greatest need. At the same time, it demonstrates the participatory model because stakeholders' concerns, particularly those of parents, are also considered. These examples illustrate how effective educational leaders use both data and theory to guide resource allocation rather than relying solely on intuition. Decision making does not end once a budget has been approved. Educational leadership follows a continuous cycle. Leaders identify problems, collect relevant data, consult stakeholders, generate possible solutions, evaluate alternatives, prioritizes actions, allocate resources, implement programs, and finally evaluate outcomes. The results of one decision become the starting point for the next. Therefore, decision making is not a one time event but an ongoing process of continuous school improvement. Every allocation decision creates consequences. When resources are allocated strategically, schools experience improved instruction, higher learner achievement, satisfied stakeholders, and sustainable improvement. However, poor resource allocation can lead to wasted budgets, teacher dissatisfaction, declining student performance, community distrust, and ultimately policy failure. This reminds us that educational leadership is measured not by how much money a school receives, but by how wisely those resources are utilized. In the Philippine setting, educational leaders are guided by initiatives such as the Matatag or the revised K-10 curriculum, school-based management, the school improvement plan, the annual implementation plan, and MOOE funding. These frameworks ensure that national educational goals are translated into localized decisions that respond to the unique needs of each school. As future educational leaders, our responsibility is not simply to comply with these policies, but to implement them strategically, transparently, and equitably for the benefit of every learner. As I conclude, let me leave you with this reflection. Educational policies do not make decisions, people do. The quality of our schools depends largely on the quality of the decisions made by educational leaders. Therefore, effective decision making is not about spending the most money, it is about investing limited resources where they will create the greatest educational impact. May we always remember that every budget approved, every priority selected, and every policy implemented ultimately shapes the future of our learners. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope this presentation has provided valuable insights into the importance of strategic decision making in educational policy. So these are the list of my references and this one also. So thank you for watching. Leave a comment and I would love to hear from you. Goodbye.